Prince William's public words that made headlines about Kate. The world is used to hearing Prince William speak carefully. Measured words. Polished phrases. Nothing accidental. So when his public words about Kate made headlines, many assumed it was just another royal moment. A supportive husband. A predictable prince. But that assumption is wrong. Because what Prince William said wasn't routine. It wasn't scripted the way people think. And it revealed far more about power, pressure, and the future of the monarchy than the palace ever intended. And what the palace didn't tell you was this. Those words were not just for Kate. They were for everyone watching. And once you understand why, you'll never hear royal speeches the same way again. For years, the public believed Prince William was the quieter royal. The one who followed tradition. The one who stayed within the lines. But these words changed that perception. Because they landed differently, they carried weight. And inside royal circles, they sparked private conversations that still haven't stopped. So let's investigate what really happened. The first revelation begins with timing. Prince William didn't choose just any moment to speak about Kate. This wasn't random. It came at a time when attention on the royal family was intense. When public curiosity about Kate's role, strength, and future was quietly growing. And instead of deflecting, William leaned in. In his words, he didn't just acknowledge Kate as his wife. He framed her as essential. Not supportive. Not present. Essential. That distinction matters. Because the monarchy has long relied on unspoken rules. The heir leads. The spouse supports. William's words disrupted that balance. He spoke with respect that sounded less like tradition and more like partnership. Less like obligation. More like reliance. And palace insiders noticed immediately. Because this wasn't how royal men historically spoke about their wives. This was not about appearances. It was about acknowledgement. Wait, there's more. The second revelation lies in what he didn't say. Prince William is trained to avoid emotional exposure. To protect the institution by keeping personal feelings contained. But in this moment, he allowed something rare to surface. Vulnerability. Not dramatic. Not emotional in the obvious sense. But controlled honesty. He spoke in a way that suggested something deeper. That Kate had carried weight the public never fully saw. That her role went beyond appearances and schedules. And that subtle admission created tension inside the palace. Because vulnerability is powerful, and power inside the monarchy is carefully managed. Some saw his words as refreshing. A sign of a modern king. Others saw risk. A crack in the armor. And that divide is important. Because it reveals a monarchy at a crossroads. Wait, there's more. The third revelation is where things become truly interesting. Prince William's words didn't just elevate Kate. They redefined his own role. By publicly crediting her strength, her influence, and her steadiness, he was sending a message. Not just to the public, but to the institution itself. He was saying this future reign will not look like the past. This is not a solo crown. It is a shared one. And that idea quietly unsettles tradition. Because the monarchy thrives on continuity. On the illusion that nothing really changes. But William's words suggested change is already happening. Inside palace walls, conversations followed. Not arguments. Reassessments. How much should the future queen be visible? How much influence is too much influence? How does this shift public expectation? These are not small questions. And now comes the bridge between what was said and what it means. Wait, there's more. Because context matters. Prince William did not grow up emotionally protected. He grew up watched, judged, and shaped by loss. He saw what silence did to his mother. He saw what distance did to his parents' marriage. And he learned something important early on. What you don't say can matter just as much as what you do. So when he chose to speak about Kate the way he did, it wasn't accidental. It was intentional protection. Protection of her role. Protection of their partnership. Protection of their children's future. Because public words shape private reality. Now let's talk about why headlines reacted so strongly. The media recognized something familiar yet unusual. A royal man speaking with emotional clarity. Not dominance. Not detachment. But respect. That resonates with modern audiences. And it reshapes how people see the crown. This wasn't about romance. It was about balance. And that's why it landed so powerfully. Wait, there's more. Kate's silence afterward spoke volumes. She didn't respond publicly. She didn't reinforce the moment. And that restraint was strategic. Because in royal life, silence can amplify meaning. It allowed William's words to stand alone, to echo, to linger. And they did. Because behind the scenes, advisors understood the shift. This wasn't a one-off moment. It was a signal that William is no longer just preparing to inherit the monarchy. He is shaping it in advance. And Kate is central to that vision. Now here's where tension deepens. Not everyone